Hello everyone, today we'll start chapter 9 reproduction in animals of class 8. The topics which we'll cover are sexual reproduction, fertilization, embryonic development, metamorphosis, asexual reproduction and cloning. Now you know that so many processes are going on inside our body like digestion, circulation, excretion, respiration. Similarly, reproduction is also a process which is carried by all animals and plants. Now, what is the need for reproduction? Have you ever think that how did we come on this planet Earth? We know that our parents have given birth to us and that's how we are here right now. Now, what will happen if there will be no reproduction, if animals or plants will not reproduce? Then that will be the end of humanity on this planet. As you know that, let's take our example of human beings. We have lifespan of about 60 to 70 years. So if we will not reproduce, then after 60 to 70 years, it will be our end. So for the continuity of life on earth, reproduction is very essential. Now, all living organisms produce individuals of same species. An organism gives rise to young ones similar to itself. And what is reproduction? It is a biological process by which all organisms produce more of their own kind, and transfer of genetic material from parents to offspring takes place. In chapter 8, we discussed one part of cell, nucleus. Nucleus is responsible for transferring characters of parents. Now this is lifespan of an organism's birth, then childhood, then reproductive phase, then we get old and finally we die. So we have a very short lifespan. Now why there is need of reproduction? Because it ensures continuity of species generation after generation. Without reproduction, all life on earth would become extinct. Variation is created and inherited during reproduction. We are not identical to our parents, we are little bit different. In our appearance, somehow we are similar to our parents, but we are not identical. Because we are getting characters from both parent and father and mother. You know that animal give birth to their young ones. And have you ever noticed that the young ones are identical? They are similar to their parents, like we human beings, we are identical, we are similar to our parents. Now let's talk about modes of reproduction. In class 7, we have discussed reproduction in plants. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss only about animals. So there are two modes of reproduction. One is asexual and the other one is sexual. In asexual mode of reproduction, only one parent is involved. That's why it is known as asexual. Only single parent is involved. Whereas in case of sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. One is mother and the other is father. So here comes your first internal question which you have to write on page 111. What do you mean by sexual reproduction? The mode of reproduction in which two parents are involved to produce their young ones is called sexual reproduction. Now we'll discuss these types one by one. First, asexual. If you remember the types of asexual reproduction, in this chapter we are going to discuss only two methods. One is budding and binary fission. Budding we have already discussed in class 7. Let's recall it here again. Budding is the process which is carried by unicellular organisms. Okay, not only unicellular, microscopic organisms like Hydra. Hydra shows budding. Now in budding what happens? this is, let's say this is the body of hydra. So this hydra, it will start developing bulges out of the body on the lateral side. This outer growth, this bulge is known as bud. Now this bud will grow here on the body of parent. Now this hydra, this is parent hydra because it is giving birth to this individual. So this is parent hydra. On its lateral side a bud will develop, it will keep on developing here, and after some time this bud will detach itself from the body of parent. Now this is parent and this is the bud. Now this bud will develop and it will become an individual, and this is how reproduction is taking place in body of hydra, and this is budding because buds are developed on the body of parent. Now second type is binary fission. Binary fission is shown, this process is shown by amoeba, which is unicellular organism. Binary means two and fission means to break, breaking down. So the body of amoeba, the shape of amoeba is irregular and at the center nucleus is present. So in this process, now this is parent amoeba because it is giving birth to the individual. So this is parent amoeba. Now the nucleus of this amoeba, it will divide, it will break into two nuclei. Now you can see this is how this nucleus is breaking into two nuclei, and finally out of this parent amoeba we will get two daughter amoeba, and each is having this nuclei. So here from one amoeba we are getting two daughter amoeba, and this process is known as binary fission because it is breaking down into two daughter amoeba. Understood? Now same happens in sexual reproduction. The only difference is two parents are required, one is mother and the other one is father. Now you know that, like for take example of respiration, to respire we need proper respiratory organs. For circulation we need circulatory organs. Similarly for reproduction we need reproductive organs. So in male and in female the set of reproductive organ is different. So let's see. First we'll discuss male reproductive organs. First is pair of testes. Second, a pair of spermatic duct. And third is penis. Now these three organs are known as primary sexual organs because they are directly involved in reproduction. Now what is the function of this testis? Now this testis, let's open new page. Now it produces two things. First is sperm, which is a male gamete, and the second thing which it produces is testosterone, which is male hormone. We'll discuss it later. What is sperm? This sperm fuses with the female gamete and fertilization takes place, and testosterone, this is male hormone which is responsible for secondary sexual characters. Like you have noticed that with aging there is increase in height. In boys the shoulders become broader, there is a change in their voice, the voice become low pitched voice, and there is development of beard, mustaches. Why this is? Because of the release of testosterone. And which organ releases this testosterone? That is testis. Now testis is producing sperm also, so that sperm is carried by these spermatic duct. Okay. Then through this penis, those sperms are transferred in the body of females. So these are primary sexual organs in males. Now let's discuss what is sperm. Sperms are very small in size and they are released in millions. Number is in millions. Now let me draw the structure of sperm. Now sperm is divided into three parts. First head, then this is middle part, and this is tail. Now in head, nucleus is present. This is nucleus. And can you tell me what is the role of nucleus? It is responsible for transferring characters from parents to their children. Now this middle part contains mitochondria. Can you tell me what is mitochondria? It is the powerhouse of cell, as it provides energy to this cell. And this tail, it is responsible for movement of this sperm. So this is all about the structure of sperm. It is divided into three parts: head, middle and tail. Head contains nucleus and middle part contains mitochondria, and tail is responsible for its movement. Now here comes your second internal question, which you have to write on page 112. Define sperm, and under the topic of sperm, mark the answer. Sperm is a single cell with only one set of chromosomes. And where is chromosome present? In this part, in nucleus. These are male reproductive organs. These are pair of testes. Then this is spermatic ducts, also known as vas deferens, and this is penis, and it carries sperms. This is structure of sperm: head, middle and tail. Tail helps the sperm in movement so that it can reach the ovum. At this point, now let's discuss reproductive organs of female. First is pair of ovaries, and these ovaries are responsible for production of ovum, or we call eggs, and female hormone. Like in case of males, who was responsible? Testes were responsible for production of sperm and testosterone. Similarly, ovaries are responsible for ovum, which is a female gamete, and female hormone is also released by ovaries. Second is pair of oviduct, or we call it fallopian tube. And last is uterus, where development of embryo takes place. So it will be more clear by the picture. Every month one ovary produces egg, and these are oviduct. These duct, which you can see, it is oviduct, also known as fallopian tube, and here fertilization takes place, means fusion of egg and sperm takes place in this oviduct, and this is pear-shaped uterus, where development of embryo takes place and baby is developed. Understood all the body organs, reproductive organs? Then our next topic is fertilization. As I told you that male gamete fuses with female gamete and zygote is formed. So this complete process is known as fertilization, fusion of male gamete and female gamete to form zygote. As we discussed that male gamete is sperm and female gamete is ovum. When their nuclei fuses, zygote is formed, and after few stages this zygote is developed into a complete baby. And now this baby shows characters of both father and mother because the zygote contains nuclei of both father and mother. And as I told you that nucleus is responsible for transferring characters from parents to their children. And where does this take place? At which part of female body? In oviduct. Fertilization takes place in oviduct, and oviduct is also known as fallopian tube. Now there are two types of fertilization, internal and external. Internal, the name suggests, it is taking place inside the female body like human beings and many animals. Fertilization takes place inside the female body. Whereas external, the case in which fertilization takes place out of the female body, that is external fertilization. If you have noticed, if you have observed that frogs, they show this type of fertilization, external fertilization. In that what happens? Female frog, it lays hundreds of eggs in the water body, and again that male frog, it deposits sperm in the water body, and sperm has tail, so it will move, it will swim from that region and it will come to the eggs which is laid by that frog, female frog. So fusion of sperm and egg is taking place out of the female body, and that's why it is known as external fertilization. An example is frog. Look, this is fish and these are eggs laid by fish. Now what are the disadvantages of external fertilization? Offsprings are prone to predators and environmental changes. Now these are eggs, so you know that in water body so many organisms live there. So these eggs are vulnerable to those predators. They can eat, they can destroy these eggs. And environmental changes also, because inside the female body the environment is particular, means the temperature, the body temperature, everything, it is getting full nourishment. But out of the female body, it is completely dependent on the environment conditions. So if there is change in environmental conditions, then there will be a problem in the growth of, problem in the fertilization of these eggs and sperms. This is internal fertilization. As you can see, this is oviduct or fallopian tube. These are sperm which is inserted in the body of female through penis, and here this is ovum which is released by these ovaries. Here fusion of these ovum and sperm is taking place, means fertilization is taking place here. And this is overview of sexual reproduction. Male produces sperms through testes and female produces eggs through ovary. Fertilization takes place and they develop zygote. Zygote is developed into embryo, then embryo into fetus, and finally into baby. So let's discuss in detail embryo development in humans. Now fertilization has taken place already. What is developed? Zygote. Now this zygote is single cell. So it will keep on redividing. It will keep on dividing and it will form group of cells. Now these group of cells, they organize themselves and they form particular tissues and organs, and that stage is known as embryo. Then this embryo is implanted, it is embedded in the walls of uterus, which is pear shaped, and it is then on the walls of uterus, this embryo gets full nourishment from the body of female. Then we can see there is development of particular parts of the body like hands, legs, ears, head. We can see these organs, and at that stage it is known as fetus. Now it keeps on developing there, and finally when it comes out of the body of female, it is known as baby. Full process, what happens inside the body, and this complete period is known as gestation period. And it takes about 280 days or 9 months to complete this process. Okay, now you have observed that many animals, they give birth to their young ones directly, but few animals, they lay eggs. So what is the difference? In both bodies fertilization is taking place, so why we humans are not laying eggs and why hens are not giving birth to the young ones directly? Because there is one difference at this stage here. When this zygote passes to the uterus, so many protective layers are formed around the egg, and because of those hard layers, hard covering, hard protective layers, a shell is formed around the embryo, and that's why few animals, they lay eggs. Understood? As you have seen egg, you have noticed that the outer covering is very hard, so that is protective layer which was formed around the egg when it was inside the body of female. So on basis of it, we have categorized animals into two categories, viviparous and oviparous. Viviparous are those animals which give birth to their young ones directly. Example, humans. And oviparous are those animals who lay eggs. Example, hen, birds, they all are oviparous animals. So here comes your third internal question, which you have to write on page 114. What do you mean by viviparous animals? Mark the answer. Some animals give birth to young ones are called viviparous animals. For example, cow, human, cat, dog, etc. Viviparous, they give birth to young ones here, and oviparous, they lay eggs. Now in class 7 we have discussed life cycle of silk moth. Okay, first it lays eggs, then it converted into larva, then pupa stage, and finally into a butterfly. So similarly, there is life cycle of frog also. It passes through so many stages, like initially eggs, first stages eggs, then it develops into tadpole, then slowly it converted into tadpole, and with legs means we can see the other body parts, and then this tadpole is developed into young frog, and it reaches its maturity stage, and becomes adult frog, and then again it is capable of producing eggs. So this complete cycle of frog is known as metamorphosis. What it is known as? Metamorphosis. What? The transformation of this young frog into the adult frog through many stages is known as metamorphosis. In some animals, the young ones called larvae may look very different from the adults, example silkworm, frog, etc. This process of transformation of a larva into an adult by undergoing changes is called metamorphosis. The last topic of our chapter is cloning. What does it mean in general? What do you mean by clone? In many software also we produce clones. So what is clones? Cloning means we are making the exact copy of any particular thing. We are making duplicate copies. Like we make Xerox of our data. So that is similar. Cloning is we are making the exact copy. So here in this chapter, cloning is a technique It is a technique by which we are creating exact copy of any particular organ of animal's body or any particular cell or the complete organism. That is known as cloning. Got it? So here comes your fourth internal question, which is what is cloning, which you have to write on page 115. Mark the answer. Cloning is a technique by which an exact copy of a cell and other part of the body or a complete organism can be produced. Here we have taken example of Dolly. It was the very first successful case of cloning. What happened in case of Dolly? By the way, Dolly is a mammalian clone. We have taken case study of Dolly. It is a mammalian clone, and Dolly was born on 5th of July 1996. Date of birth is 5th July 1996 and in Scotland. Now how did we produce the clone of this mammal? We have taken two different species of sheep. First was Finn Dorset sheep. And the other was Blackface Scottish ewe. Now from the mammary gland of this sheep we extracted a cell. This is cell of Finn Dorset sheep. Inside this cell what is present? Nucleus, and I have told you many times that nucleus is responsible for transferring characters from parents to their children. So what we did of this cell, we make it enucleated, means we separated this nucleus. Now this is cell without nucleus and this is the nucleus. Okay, same we did with this Blackface Scottish ewe. This is cell extracted from mammary gland and it contains nucleus. Then we made it enucleated. We separated out cell and nucleus. Now what scientists did, they inserted this nucleus of Finn Dorset sheep into this enucleated cell of Blackface Scottish ewe. Now what is happening here? Look closely. This is the cell from Blackface Scottish ewe. In this enucleated cell we are inserting nucleus from Finn Dorset sheep. Now this is the cell which we got finally. Now what will happen? What we did? We implanted this cell in the body of this Blackface Scottish ewe. It was implanted in the body of black-faced Scottish ewe and it was inserted into the uterus. Now there development of this egg takes place and this black-faced Scottish ewe gave birth to Dolly, and Dolly was born. Now according to you, Dolly should be looking like whom? This black-faced Scottish ewe, which is mother of this Dolly, or it will look like this Finn Dorset sheep? This Dolly, it will look like this Finn Dorset sheep, because this egg contains nucleus of which animal? This Finn Dorset sheep, and nucleus is responsible for transferring characters. So this Dolly contains characters of this Finn Dorset sheep. Instead, the fact that black-faced Scottish ewe gave birth to Dolly, but Dolly looks like Finn Dorset sheep. So this was the case study of Dolly, and by this topic we are ending our chapter 9. I hope you understood the chapter well. Thank you.